Good afternoon, everyone. Glad to have you all here this Friday. This is the pilot episode of the Scoutin Session, where we talk the up-and-coming sports stars and highlight young standout performances at the professional level. My name is Ella Walter-Sanchez, and I'm joined by
Noah Reed
and Jordan Talley.
And before we get started, we've all had rookie mistakes throughout our lives, but some of the mistakes in the sporting world are caught on camera for all to see. So, with that in mind, what's the worst rookie mistake you've ever seen?
Okay, so I've been to, several sporting events and, seen some tough things. But the worst rookie mistake actually was at a cross-country meet where, oh man, you show up on race day and you only really need a few things. You need your jersey, you need your race shoes, and you need your bib. And I won't give away names, but I had a teammate one year who forgot their racing shoes, forgot their racing jersey, and forgot their bib. Oh. And so it was less than ideal, to say the least, but it was like, you've been doing this for a while now, like, come on, you should have had this done. But anyways,
I can't really think of one off the top of my head. I mean, you have, obviously, I'm an F1 fan. You have those, rookie crashes where you see it and you're like, that you're obviously unexperienced. And now you just caused the team millions of dollars in damages. But I don't know. Nothing really stands out to me.
I think in baseball, I feel like, in any sport, obviously, I feel like once you get to a certain level, sometimes people forget the fundamentals. And I just feel like it's so funny when you see, the biggest Little League mistake happen in an MLB game. I don't know, they accidentally throw to a certain base when somebody's on third, and it's like, okay, you just allowed a run when you completely forgot about the fact that somebody was on third. Or, I don't know, people aren't paying attention and they throw to a base. So I just think it's funny when, some of the things that are preached most in Little League kind of slip away in the majors sometimes. It's kind of funny to watch.
That could go with, hockey, too, when you have vets, getting, big hits and then getting sent to the box, and they're like, what did I do? What did I do? So, yeah.
Definitely. So, sorry.
No, go ahead, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, when you mentioned F1, you got me thinking of, rookie drivers speeding on pit road. Mm-hmm. And they're like, what section was I speeding in? Uh-huh. All of them?
Or, you have, somebody speeding in the pit lane, and then they're like, what did I do? I'm like, okay, whatever.
So, in this show, for our show breakdown, we have Who's on Deck with myself, Hit the Ice with Jordan, and the Racing Roundtable with Noah. So first, I have our baseball prospect, Cam Caminiti, who we're going to be talking about today. So class of 2024 and a left-handed pitcher. So he's actually from Arizona. He went to Saguaro High School in Scottsdale, Arizona, and he is a cousin. For the longest time, I thought he was a niece of Ken Caminiti, since he was born after Ken Caminiti passed away, but he is a cousin of the famous Ken Caminiti, who was a third baseman and spent 15 seasons in the MLB, played for the Astros, Padres, Rangers, and the Braves, 3-time All-Star, 3-time Gold Glove winner, Silver Slugger winner, as well as the National League MVP in 1998. And he unfortunately passed away before Cam was born, but he was posthumously inducted into both the Astros and the Padres Hall of Fame. And Cam Caminiti, through, his family, has made use of a lot of family ties. There's a whole article on how his hitting coach is actually the same as Carson Kelly, who is a former Diamondback and is the current Rangers catcher. So it's really cool to see that his family, even though his dad wasn't really involved in MLB, that his family has kind of still made use of those ties, even though his cousin died 20 years ago. But anyway, he attended Saguaro High School, which was in my high school's district in Scottsdale, Arizona, and he's just now turned 18 in August, and which is funny because he was supposed to be in the 2025 draft, but he reclassed, making him one of the youngest players in the class, and he was only 17 at the time of the draft. And he didn't reclassify until the summer of 2023 also, so it was kind of a late start to being reclassed and a lot of adapting that had to be done. And in 2023, he also was committed to LSU for baseball, which in the baseball, I feel like in any sport, but especially in baseball, is a big deal to be committed to LSU. And he was the highest ranked pitcher in the high school class of 2024 and ranked number 15 by MLB Pipeline. His fastball touches up to 98 miles an hour, and his average sits around 95. And he would also, if he's not seen on the mound, he would be seen in center field as well. And the Perfect Game organization is one that's like the largest scouting department of all of baseball. So they have stuff starting when he started at 13, and you basically play in these leagues and just to get showcased and get your name started out. So he's been in that organization since he was 13, and he was a 13U Select Festival player in 2020, a 14U Select player in 2021, and a 2023 All-American Classic player. And something I didn't know about being a baseball fan was this thing called the Golden Spikes Award, and he was one of 2 players to win this before graduating high school, and the other being a fellow draft member who ended up being drafted at number 9 by the Pirates. And it's basically called the Golden Spikes Award, which is given each year to the best amateur baseball player in the United States. And it's created by USA Baseball and sponsored by the MLB Players Association. And it's considered to be the most prestigious award in amateur baseball, combining both exceptional on-field ability and exemplary sportsmanship. And 10 winners of this award have gone on to be members of the National College Baseball Hall of Fame, including Bob Horner, who then went on to be the first draft pick and Rookie of the Year, all in the same year. And some key names in the last 20 years that have won this: Davis Price, Buster Posey, Bryce Harper, and Adley Rutschman. And this award has always been given to a college player since 1978, and Cam Caminiti was the first high schooler to win this award, which I thought was crazy. It can, technically be given to any amateur player, but he was the first high schooler to win it in, almost 40 years of the award existing, which I thought was crazy because there's lots of big names on that list. And in high school, he played for Saguaro, like I said, and he led them to their first state championship in 13 years. And Saguaro is also another big name for sports. I don't know if my internship senior years with the Varsity Sports Show, and kind of the main school that they cover is Saguaro because they have such a good sports program all around, not just football. And I remember when Cam would go to pitch, I went to cover one of the games, and there were literally, I would say, 60 MLB scouts in the stands to watch this kid pitch, and it was just insane to just see all of these people watching this high schooler pitch. And in the state championship, he tossed a 2-hit game in the title game to beat 2-time defending state champions Canyon Del Oro. He had 11 strikeouts in the state championship, and for his senior career, he went 9-0 with an ERA of .93, striking out 119 batters in 52.23 innings, and at the at the plate, he hit .493. So, to put that into perspective, a good ERA for an average high school pitcher is considered to be between 2 and 4 per the college baseball recruiting guidelines, and his is under 1, which is, amazing for a Major League Baseball pitcher to be under 1. And the batting average as well for high school is around 340. Below 230 is for non-pitchers is not good, but it's considered good for pitchers because they don't normally focus in hitting, and above 400 is nearly unachievable. So he has unachievable ERA and unachievable batting average, and yeah, he was one of Saguaro's best hitters and obviously best pitcher in the nation. And his best high school game was versus Deer Valley, where he struck out the first 16 batters he faced through 5 innings. And he ended up being drafted in the first round of the 2024 MLB draft to the Braves as the 24th pick. He had a $3.4 million signing value, and he was the first Arizona high school pitcher drafted since 2018. And his first game for the Braves, for a single A team, he had 4 strikeouts. So he has quite the story and quite the stats.
I'm blown away by this. 18 years old, and you have a $3.4 million contract. But I will say one thing, and you'll probably laugh at me for this, but when you said that he was pitching at 98, it got me thinking of the Rookie and how he was constantly pitching 98 in front of the speed trap. And so that's a good sign. It sounds like I just had That's incredible. That's incredible.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I feel like anywhere you go in at least the Scottsdale, Phoenix area, if you say the name Cam Kennedy, especially now that he's been drafted, I mean, even before he was drafted, everybody knows who you're talking about because he's just kind of like a Scottsdale sensation.
I mean, yeah, just blown away thinking about that he's the first high school baseball player to ever win that award, and the whole history that the award has been given out is just, like,
yeah,
insane.
Mm-hmm. Quite the list. I learned a lot while doing research for him, and it's just crazy to think that hopefully one day he'll have some great stats up there and be Hall of Famer.
All right, I'll take it away from here. We have our first rendition of Hit the Ice with me, Jordan. Today we'll be diving into a hockey prospect from the WHL, which is the Western Hockey League. He plays for the Seattle Thunderbirds, who is my hometown team, the team I grew up rooting for. Braden Coots, like I said, of the Seattle Thunderbirds, is a 17-year-old, 6-foot forward center out of Sherwood Park in Alberta, Canada, and he has made quite the impression in his 3-year career in the Western Hockey League. Mostly 2 years. His first season with the Thunderbirds he wasn't called up every game. So in his 3-year stint with the Seattle Thunderbird, Coots has turned heads toward the Pacific Northwest. For just this season, in 23 games, Braden Coots has been able to put up 9 goals and 13 assists with a total of 22 points, almost nearing his points total for all of last season. Just about a third of the way through this season, his points and goal statistics make him good enough for second on the team in points, second on the team in goals, and tied for first with teammate Sawyer Mineo in assists, who is also a defenseman. He was just named co-captain of the team along 2023 Canucks draft pick and defenseman Sawyer Mineo, who he shares the assist record for at the moment, making him the 34th and 35th captains of the franchise, filling in the spot of Jordan Gustafson, a Las Vegas Golden Knights prospect who aged out of the CHL last year, which is the Canadian Hockey League, which is sanctioned by the WHL. Before his WHL career, Braden Coots played 1 season with the Sherwood Park Kings under-18 AAA team and led the team in assists while being second in total points. His performance led him to receive high honors for the John Reed Memorial Tournament for that U18 AAA group, giving him tournament first team, tournament MVP, and a tournament top forward. At the right age, I think he was like 16 or 15. He was probably 15 at the time, getting those accolades. Before the WHL season started this year, Coots represented Team Canada in the Helinski Gretzky Cup, an international tournament with sanctioned by Skate Canada, Team USA, even the Czech teams and stuff like that. So he was selected, and he won gold. He was a gold medalist in that tournament. Also this year, Braden Coots was selected to be a part of the inaugural CHL and USA Prospects Challenge, where he represented the CHL and the Thunderbirds in front of scouts from all 32 NHL teams and just a bunch of scouts in general. Braden Coots is considered a top prospect for this upcoming 2025 draft class as he is eligible. He is ranked number 10 by Elite Prospects, number 19 by TSN, the sports network, and then number 18 by Sportsnet, making him a viable contender for the first round. Coming off a season like the Seattle Thunderbirds last year where it was very disappointing, missed the playoffs after going on a cup run the year before winning the championship. It's nice to see a newer face hold that captaincy and that leadership, especially since he has obviously proved himself not only at the WHL level, but also as a leader, and still being 17 years old and being the captain of a major junior hockey team. I mean, yeah, I know as a fan going and seeing that, it's like, oh, there he goes. He scores again. Oh, there he was. He was on that assist for that one. He's been compared to prospects are now NHLers Will Smith for his defensive puck playing, who went in the first round a few years ago. Yeah, all around just a great player that the Seattle Thunderbirds have had, drawing attention to the team, representing the CHL at a Prospects Challenge. I mean, yeah, that there's not much else to say other than great up-and-coming talent from him, especially if he's being seen by highly respected sports analysts in Canada specifically. So, yeah, lots to look forward to for the future of him.
I think one thing I'll say is now that you're, the regional, in my opinion at least, hockey expert, excuse me, but I have a friend who just got back from his mission to Canada. He spent 2 years up there, came back a huge hockey fan, but he's never played hockey, and so I actually am really excited to go back because one of my friends went back with him for a Thanksgiving break, and so they went ice skating. He's like, no, we have to go ice skating, and maybe we'll learn how to play hockey. I'm like, we'll see. I don't know. I'm good at ice skating, but I don't know if I'd be good at, actual hockey. But I mean, just seeing what he's done, especially with the CHL, because I know that there isn't a lot of eyeballs necessarily from the U.S. out onto the CHL. I think more people like Braden are great for the sport and what it needs.
And also, it's just, I think he also is just a highlight into what we've had a ton of WHL prospects come out in the top rounds of the draft. Lots of Thunderbirds players specifically were drafted in the past few years in the first 2 rounds. You have generational talents like Tijanigla, whose dad played in the NHL, and now he's kind of looked at as like, oh, what's he going to do? It brings great attention to CHL and the Western WHL, Western Hockey League in specific, where a lot of eyes go to that Toronto, Ontario heavy hockey scene. So making eyes come out west is definitely a plus in my book.
Yeah, I definitely think, I don't know as much about hockey as you guys do, but I definitely think it's cool to also see, obviously, it's definitely bigger in places like Canada than it is here. So to be recognized by, like you said, people that high of status in that country, it definitely is a good sign. And it's very interesting to see like another young, I mean, basically the same age as Cam Caminiti with this much talent. And it's just, I mean, I wish I had this much talent at age 17. Like, I don't know. It's just really cool to see. And
that's why we're doing the show.
Exactly.
Well, so far we've given you an 18-year-old. We've given you a 17-year-old. But as we bring you into Racing Roundtable with Noah Reed, I want to tell you about a 13-year-old from Martinez, California. He's set to compete in this year's running of the Snowball Derby. This young man, his name is Vito Cancilla. He's in 7th grade, and he has been absolutely blowing the doors off everyone on the West Coast. Now he's brought his Nascimento Motorsports entry down to Five Flags Speedway, all the way in Pensacola, Florida. They spent all last week driving cross country in their car down with the trailer hooked up. And so this event is the most prestigious short track race in the season. It's been on the schedule since 1968. You've had NASCAR champions like Darrell Waltrip has won this race multiple times. And so Vito's going to be making his debut at the racetrack, which is, already hard enough, but he's going to be racing against veterans 5 times his experience, and he's going to be running double duty in a pro late model and a super late model. And this one's for you, Ella. I know you don't know a lot about racing, and Jordan, I'm sure you're not familiar with what this is, but I want to just explain to our viewers what the difference between a pro late model and a super late model is. So a pro late model, they run a certain type of chassis. They're a little bit lighter, enhanced horsepower compared to some other late model cars. They're aerodynamically aggressive, using a crate engine producing 425 horsepower. So that's probably, close to double what some people have in their street cars, but a super late model. These things are beasts of race cars and just purpose-built for motorsports competition, and they can generate around 630 horsepower. They're offset to the left side, so we call it yaw in stock car racing. So they'll drive, if they're heading straight, the bodies kind of have almost this like offset to the left. So
Yeah.
you're like, wait, I'm looking at this car going straight, but it looks like it's left. So it's actually to help it turn better in the corners. So yesterday they had practice, and despite a delay all throughout the day due to rain, he clocked in 17th out of 49 entries in the pro late models and 28th out of the 45 total super lates. And, you know, this is no joke of a race. So let me just list you off some of the entries. You have 2024 NASCAR Truck Series champion Ty Majeski, who has won just about every short track race under the sun this year. 2018 race winner Noah Gragson, 18-year-old defending ARCA champion William Sawalich, and Bubba Pollard. Just to put this into perspective, Bubba Pollard has won every single crown jewel on the short track, from everything on the West Coast to the East Coast except for the Snowball Derby. Wow. So he's been trying 18 years. He's yet to do it. So we'll see this year if he can come up and do it. But Cancella's been dominating every track in California. He's got feature wins at All-American Speedway, my home track, Madera Speedway, Kevin Harvick's Kern County Raceway in his debut race nonetheless. He also took a win in Shasta Speedway. He set the record for the youngest winner behind the wheel of a full-bodied stock car. I was there. I met this kid when he was 10 years old, strapped inside of a full-bodied stock car with 350 horsepower. He came out against veterans who were racing at the track and beat him. And that was, to me, one of the moments where I was like, wow, this kid has got talent. He can go all the way. And one fun fact is he actually got his start running dirt tracks. He started at 8 years old. So he's already got 5 years worth of racing experience already at the age of 13. And, I mean, he won Rookie of the Year right away. He's going to be actually qualifying very shortly for the Snowball Derby as it's going on as we're recording this episode. But if you want to find out more about Vito, I encourage you guys, because he's got a really cool story. Check out Instagram, Facebook, Cancilla Racing, or, you know, VitoCancillaRacing.com for his website. And honestly, guys, with this show, I'm assuming we're going to be able to do some more cool things with segments like this. And, you know, it's all about connections in this industry. Maybe one day we'll even get Vito on the show. But
yeah, no, that is actually insane because, first of all, being behind the wheel at 13 years old, just in general, and then being behind a wheel with that much power is insane. I mean, first of all, I don't think I'd trust myself, but I don't think I'd trust, like, I'm just thinking about my 13-year-old little brother and, like, him doing these things, and it's just like, oh my god, like, no. I would not trust that one bit. And the fact that he's competing in something, like, to this extent, I mean, obviously I don't know about as much as racing as you do, but from these details and from the history of the other people competing in this race, it seems like it's obviously not just any average race, even though I feel like any average race that you can qualify for at 13 years old is very impressive, but it's obviously not any average race, and it's nothing short of impressive, obviously. I mean, he's 13 years old and obviously has a lot of eyes on him in 7th grade.
It's just mind-boggling. Also, as a motorsport fan, you think of, like, young guys coming up and being great. Think of, like, Max Verstappen, who got his Formula 1 debut when he was, like, 17, making him the youngest, whatever. No, this kid is 13, driving cars that you could never even, like, imagine driving as a normal person, and this kid's in the 7th grade. Like, it's just genuinely, I can't imagine, especially how he feels. He's 13 years old, getting such a great head start in a NASCAR career, and, I mean, that's all there is pretty much to say about it, is that that's, like, sounds generational.
Well, and one thing you mentioned is, like, you can't imagine what it would be like to be in his shoes. And meeting him from the first time to where he is now, he is a polished professional athlete practically in the way he speaks, the way he interviews, because he has sponsors. So he's got sponsors that he supports. You know, he thanks his, obviously, Nasamento Motorsports, Impact Transportation are huge reasons for where he is. And there's a track, Madera Speedway, that he's won at. He became the youngest winner to win a pro late model race at that track. And so the way they run Madera is it's a televised TV show through MAV TV. So they stop the races at the halfway point so that teams can work on their car. And in between the breaks, the drivers get out. They're interviewed live, pre, post, and midway point during these races. So he gets so much experience behind the camera. If you listen, I actually have interviewed him several times, and he's he's so much more mature than you would think for just a 13-year-old, you know? So it's...
kind of have to be if you're in that kind of spotlight.
If you're being held at a caliber like that, especially as well. You're being sponsored, you have sponsorships. Like, I just can't imagine being 13 and that's just, Yeah,
so he's got a tall task ahead of him today for qualifying. Top 30 will lock in, and then tomorrow they'll have the opportunity for 2 50-lap features to race their way in. So, keep your eye on Vito Cancelo, but keep your eye on all of the people that we talked about today, because, this is just incredible. And this is a pilot episode.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's sort of what we want to highlight with these shows. Not something I'd necessarily have seen before or heard of. I haven't necessarily heard of Vito's story. I've only really heard of Caminiti, but it definitely brings light to these stories because we only really hear about people once they're successful, but kind of following them before that is a pretty cool process to be a part of too. But thank you for listening to our pilot episode of the Scoutin Session. My name is Ella Walter-Sanchez alongside
Noah Reed
and Jordan Talley.
Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.